Describe some local news that people in your locality are interested in. You should say what the news is, how you know about this news, who is involved in this news, and explain why it is interesting to people. Answer. I came across this intriguing article in a newspaper I read at my school's library. It involved how positive attitudes have greatly affected people's success based on the story of how a local woman had never given up her dream and had now become a world-famous novelist. According to the news story, optimistic people are more likely to be successful. Since they look at the bright side, their lives are always full of enjoyment. Therefore, when running into problems, optimists try their best to work out solutions. This leads them to great achievements. In contrast, pessimistic people tend to act negatively, which not only puts them under a lot of strain, but also has a bad impact on their performance and people around them. Since I read this news, I have tried to maintain positive attitudes about everything. Whenever I fail to do something, I will not blame myself, but work harder to overcome such failure. I hope that, like this woman, everybody can learn to be optimistic about whatever situation they face. Vocabulary. Intriguing. Adjective. Very interesting, because the news was unusual. Example. He told me an intriguing story about how a shark had once attacked him while he was swimming in the sea. Had never given up, phrasal verb. Had never abandoned. She had always continued to believe in her dream. Example. The police announced that after 10 days they had finally given up looking for survivors of the air crash. World famous. Adjective. Known all over the world. Example. McDonald's is a world-famous chain of fast food restaurants. Novelist. Noun. A person who writes novels, fictional stories. Example. The author of the Harry Potter books used to teach English, but now she is a world-famous novelist. Optimistic. Adjective. Expecting good things to happen or to be successful. Example. He was optimistic about his chances of passing the exam because he had studied hard. Look at, on, the bright side. Expression. To be cheerful about a bad situation by thinking of the advantages, not the disadvantages. Example. Although you have lost your keys, look on the bright side. Your brother has a copy of all of them. Work out solutions. Phrasal verb. Think of solutions. Example. Engineers work out solutions to many technical problems when they design new buildings. Pessimistic. Adjective. Expecting bad things to happen or expecting things to fail. Example. The patient was very ill, and the doctors were pessimistic about his chances of recovering. Puts them under a lot of strain. Expression. Puts a lot of pressure on them because they are worried about being able to solve a difficulty. Example. The team has lost every match, so this puts them under a lot of strain when they have to face new opponents. Whatever. Any or every situation. Example. Whatever the situation about your travel visa, we will work out a solution together. Describe an activity you do for your health or fitness. You should say what you do, how often you do it, where you do it, and explain how you think this activity helps you stay healthy or fit. Answer. Staying in good shape is everyone's concern, and I am no exception. To be honest, I have been so caught up in my studies since I entered university that I have a problem in organizing my daily routine. However, I have been participating in a yoga class for about 2 years, which takes me only 1 hour a day, to try to lead a healthy lifestyle. Unlike dancing or running, yoga definitely involves stretching actions. You might look at yoga and think that it is light and easy, but it is more demanding than it appears. Yoga allows me to work on all the parts of my body. It can burn a lot of calories in just 1 hour of training. Also, it enhances my flexibility and suppleness in every single movement. What I enjoy the most about yoga is meditation. It is all about regulating your breathing and helping you take things off your mind easily. Another thing is that doing yoga is supposed to be good for curing headaches and digestion-related problems, so it benefits not only physical well-being, but also mental health. By maintaining a schedule of taking part in the yoga class on a daily basis, I feel extremely relaxed and full of energy after the class. It helps me to keep fit and refresh my mind after a long, stressful day. And of course, I don't see myself stopping practicing this activity anytime soon. Vocabulary. In good shape. Expression. The good physical condition of someone. Example. For a man of his age, he is in good shape. Caught up. Phrasal verb. Completely involved in something. Example. He was so caught up in the TV program that he forgot to do his homework. Stretching actions. Noun. Actions which make your muscles stronger by exercises in which you extend your arms and legs. Example. When I get up in the morning, I do some stretching actions to exercise the muscles in my arms. Demanding. Adjective. Needing a lot of effort. Example. The work of a farmer is physically very demanding. Work on. Phrasal verb. Try hard to improve something or how something functions. Example. She works on her yoga skills by practicing the exercises every day. Burn a lot of calories. Expression. Use up a lot of energy that comes from the food we eat. Example. One reason why people do exercise is to burn a lot of calories and lose weight. Flexibility. Noun. The ability to move and bend your body easily. Example. Regular exercise helps older people to maintain their flexibility, especially by stretching their muscles. Suppleness. Noun. The ability to move and bend your body into different positions. It is a synonym for flexibility. Example. Different yoga movements develop suppleness in different muscles. Meditation. Noun. Thinking deeply in silence to make you feel calm. Example. To help you to relax, try meditation after a stressful day at work. Regulating your breathing. Expression. Controlling the way in which you breathe in and out. Example. An important part of learning how to swim is regulating your breathing. Take things off your mind. Expression. Forget things which are causing you anxiety or stress. Example. After an exam, I usually have a short holiday to take things off my mind and enjoy myself. Cure. Verb. Make an illness go away. Example. The website advertises a new drug for curing AIDS. Digestion. Noun. The process of changing the food you eat into substances that the body can use. Example. Unlike cows or horses, the digestion of grass is impossible for humans. Well-being. Noun. General health and happiness. Example. The company tries to ensure the well-being of its employees by providing good working conditions. Schedule, noun. A plan that lists all the things that you have to do and when you must do them. Example, for the next few days I have a busy schedule, which includes my yoga class each morning. I don't see myself stopping. Expression, I don't think that I will stop. Example, I don't see myself stopping working in the next 10 years because I have to support my family. Anytime soon. Expression, in the near future, soon. Example, I should receive the exam results anytime soon, perhaps tomorrow. Number 50. Describe a time when you forgot something important. You should say when it happened, what you forgot, what was the result of your forgetting, and explain why it was important. Answer. Today I am going to share with you the time when I forgot something important. I once borrowed something useful. It happened a few months ago when I had to attend an important exam for my accounting qualification. The test strictly required candidates to use black ballpoint pens to write the paper. I was sure that morning when I left for the exam that I had put 2 pens in my backpack. However, I was not sure of their ink colors, so by the time I reached the examination hall, I quickly opened my backpack to check. To my surprise, they were both blue pens. This could have resulted in my answer booklet being disqualified, and I would have had to retake the exam. Since the exam was held twice a year only, this mistake would not only have cost me valuable time, but also a lot of money for the upcoming exams. In panic, I looked around to see any familiar face to ask for help. However, I did not see anyone but the examiner. I took a deep breath and decided to ask him if he had a spare black pen that I could borrow. Luckily, he did. He was willing to lend me one and did not forget to remind me about the regulation. I was relieved and ready to sit my exam, thanks to a kind examiner. Vocabulary. Disqualified. Verb. Prevent somebody from doing something because they have broken the regulations. Example. The police stopped the man in his car. He had been drinking and driving, and he was disqualified from driving for 3 years. Upcoming. Adjective. Something which is upcoming is going to happen soon. Example. Brazil is preparing for the upcoming Olympic Games in 2016. Panic. Noun. A sudden feeling of fear. Example. As the fire spread through the school, the students ran out in panic. Breath. Noun. An amount of air which enters your lungs at one time. Example. He can count from 1 to 20 in one breath. Number 49. Describe a free time activity that you like to do after you have finished your study or work. You should say what you do, where you do it, when you do it, who you do it with, and explain why you like to do this activity. Answer. Well, I am kind of a workaholic. I am so caught up in my work on a daily basis that I do not have too much time to relax after a long working day. Listening to music is the only thing that I really want to do to relax at home. There are a few things that I normally try to do to wind down, but listening to music is how I usually like to spend my free time. Because my work takes almost all the time during the day, I want to make the most of my evening by creating a cozy atmosphere for myself and just put my feet up. When I stay home, I like to dim the lights, turn on some soft music, and enjoy myself for the rest of the evening. Soft light and sounds help me to chill out pretty well. I also enjoy grabbing a favorite book and relaxing in a big comfy chair with a blanket and my pet cat on my lap while listening to music in the background. It works wonders. I find it therapeutic and relaxing when I take a little time for myself to play an inspirational song to unwind. You see, You don't have to waste a lot of time and money in order to have a restful evening. If I take some days off, I will go for a short holiday to get away from all the pressures. However, for the rest of the days when I have finished my work already, listening to music is my preferred choice. That is wonderful for me, and so I do not see myself changing my habit anytime soon. Vocabulary. Workaholic, noun. A person who works very hard and finds it difficult to stop working and do other things. Example, my sister is a workaholic. She never takes a day off to relax and have fun. Caught up in, phrasal verb. Very involved in an activity so that you do not notice other things. Example, I was so caught up in my revision that I forgot to feed the dog. Wind down, phrasal verb. Rest or relax after a period of activity. Example, after teaching all day, it's nice to go and have a coffee to wind down. Make the most of, expression. Use to the best advantage. Example, I intend to make the most of the holidays by finishing my assignment. Cozy, adjective. Warm and comfortable, because you are in a small space. Example, I feel cozy sitting in front of the fire in my small house. Put my feet up, expression. Sit down, lie back, and rest. Example, I like to sit in my favorite armchair with a cup of coffee and just put my feet up after I come home. Dim, verb. Make a light less bright. Example, in the theater, the play was about to begin. The lights were dimmed and the audience fell silent. Chill out, phrasal verb. Spend time relaxing. Example, I like to go out with my friends and chill out, just chatting and having a coffee. Grabbing, verb. Having or taking something quickly. Example, you should have a good lunch. Grabbing a sandwich is a bad habit. Comfy, adjective. Comfortable. Example, my new bed is really comfy and I fall asleep right away. Works wonders. Expression, has a very good effect on someone or something. Example, a good night's sleep works wonders for your mind and body. Therapeutic, adjective. Helping you to relax. Example, my dentist plays soft music while her patients are waiting, because she says that it is therapeutic. Inspirational, adjective. Something that motivates you and makes you have exciting ideas. Example, the president gave an inspirational speech to his supporters. Unwind, verb. See, wind down. Anytime soon, expression. In the near future. Example, after our big argument, I am not expecting her to call me anytime soon. Number 48. Describe a garden or park you enjoyed visiting. You should say where it was, what it looked like, what you did there, or what people did there, and explain why you liked it. Answer. I would like to share with you my impression of a garden that I visited last summer, which was full of color and interest. Claude Monet's house and garden in Giverny, France. As a big fan of Monet's paintings, especially the famous water lilies, I had always dreamed of seeing the scene in real life. So, when some friends suggested a visit last year, I jumped at the chance. After a journey of about an hour by train from our hotel, we arrived at Giverny. The garden was exactly as he had painted it. It was a riot of color, from the peaceful white of the water lilies to the striking reds and oranges which filled some of the flower beds. The two parts of the garden complemented each other perfectly. We first admired the array of bright flowers and fruit trees in the Clos Normand, but my favorite part was the water garden, and we enjoyed a leisurely stroll, taking in all the colors, perfumes, and bird songs. Monet avidly collected prints of Japanese gardens, and these inspired the Japanese bridges covered with wisterias, the water lilies in the pond, and the bamboo and weeping willows which he planted. For me, it was like a wonderland of colors and a dream come true after so many years. Vocabulary: impression, feeling or feelings, in the plural, about the garden, impressions. His impression of the meeting was that it didn't go very well. Fan. Although the word is often used in the context of football nowadays, here it means a person who admires Monet's paintings. She is a huge fan of Maroon 5. Jumped at the chance. I enthusiastically accepted the opportunity to visit the garden. He jumped at the chance to go to Las Vegas with his boss. A riot of color, a collection of many different colors. Sandra's rose garden is a riot of color. Striking, very attractive and unusual. The woman he was with was wearing a striking outfit last night. Flower beds, a piece of a garden or park in which flowers are grown. He loves digging in his flower beds. Complemented each other. Each part of the garden added something different to the other part, so that the garden as a whole became more attractive. The wine and the fish complemented each other to form a perfect meal. The array of bright flowers. The large and impressive collection of flowers. The array of bright flowers in her garden surprised everybody. They didn't realize she had planted so many varieties. A leisurely stroll, a slow, relaxing walk. We went for a leisurely stroll along the beach this morning. Taking in all the colors. Our eyes noticed all the colors and features of the garden. We were taking in all the colors of his garden, when all of a sudden we heard a large crash outside the garden gate. 2 cars had just bumped into each other. Avidly. Monet collected prints of Japanese gardens enthusiastically. He studied English avidly, from morning until late in the evening. Prints, copies of original drawings or paintings. The artist offered her prints for $100 each. Wisterias, white or purple flowers which cover walls, bridges, or trees. The wisterias in the garden were in full bloom. Pond, a small area of still water, usually in a garden. There are many beautiful fish in the pond. Bamboo, tall tropical plants which have hollow stems, the long, thin part of the plant, used for building or furniture. Pandas love to eat bamboo. Weeping willows, trees which grow near water and have branches which hang downwards. There are 2 weeping willows on the property, but we should cut one down. Wonderland, an imaginary place in children's stories. The amusement park was a wonderland for both children and adults. Number 47. Describe an occasion when you got up very early. You should say when it happened, why you got up early, who you were with, and explain how you felt about getting up early. Answer. Well, I am going to share with you a story of one time when I got up very early. To be honest, getting up early was not really my sort of thing on a regular basis, only on some very special occasions. One such time was during the summer holiday last year. It was our trip to Da Nang with my whole family, which lasted for 5 days. There were lots of things planned ahead, so I did the homework carefully. Because we wanted to avoid rush hours that would probably ruin our whole trip, we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to allow time for our careful preparations. It took us 2 hours to get to the airport and fly to Da Nang in the morning. I felt a little bit sleepy because this was the first time I had had to deal with such an early start. However, it promised to be a great time for my extended family to get together, so I was really excited about it. There were 10 of us all together, and of course we were chatting to each other all the way there. When we arrived, what really attracted me was the fresh air at Da Nang Beach. At once, the incredible view totally banished all thoughts of sleep. This amazing trip included many fun times to look back on, and it gave all of us a chance to bond with each other. I learned the hard way that getting up early was not as challenging as I had thought. If I tried my best, I knew that I could do it without too much trouble. For sure, I will make more trips like that in the near future. Vocabulary. My sort of thing. Expression. Something which interests me or something which I like to do. Example, rock music is not my sort of thing, so I always listen to classical music. Rush hours. Noun. The times of day when the roads are full of traffic, so it is difficult to reach your destination. Example, there are usually more car accidents during the morning and evening rush hours. Ruin. Verb. Spoil something so that there is no longer any pleasure in it. Example, the wind and rain every day ruined our holiday. Sleepy. Adjective. Feeling tired and wanting to go to sleep. Example, after working hard all day, I felt sleepy and went to bed early. Get together. Verb. If 2 or more people get together, they meet each other, having arranged the meeting before. Example, shall we get together for a coffee and a chat on Friday? Chatting. Verb. Talking together in a friendly way. Example, when the teacher arrived, the students stopped chatting and paid attention. Fresh air. Noun. Pleasantly clean and cool. Example, after working in the office all day, it was nice to go outside and get some fresh air, walking home through the park. Banished. Verb. Made someone or something go away. Example, the confidence of the driving instructor banished all my fears of learning to drive. Look back. Phrasal verb. Think about something in your past. Example, she looks back on her childhood as the happiest time of her life. Bond. Verb. Develop or create a friendly relationship with someone. Example, if a project is to be successful, the team members must all bond and work together effectively. Learned the hard way. Expression, did something in a way which was more difficult than necessary. Example, he learned the hard way not to drink and drive. He is now recovering in hospital after the car accident. Without too much trouble. Expression, with no great difficulty. Example, he has a natural talent for music, so he learned to play the piano without too much trouble. Describe a goal you want to achieve in the future. You should say what the goal is, why you want to achieve it, what you do to achieve it. One of my goals in the near future is to improve my proficiency in Japanese. Actually, I have been studying Japanese for 2 months. Therefore, I can just hold some simple conversations about daily life. There are various reasons why I want to study this language. Firstly, I am keen on Japanese culture, which is so incredibly unique and diverse. By learning Japanese, I can know more about traditions there. Secondly, I have always longed to work for a Japanese company. Since people in Japan are organized and hardworking, collaborating with them gives me a good chance to improve myself. That's why I really want to master this language. To achieve this goal, I am taking a Japanese course with a native teacher who gives me the best methods to study Japanese effectively. Besides, I am trying to practice speaking Japanese with my friends and watch as many Japanese films as possible, so that my level of Japanese can be improved considerably. I hope that soon I will have a good command of Japanese, and I am sure that I will remain motivated to achieve my goal. Vocabulary. Hold conversations. Expression. Have conversations. Example. It is impossible to hold conversations in that place. It is too noisy. Keen on. Adjective. Very interested in an idea or activity. Example. My parents are very keen on visiting my uncle in the U.S. Diverse. Adjective. Very different and varied. Example. New York is a big city with people from diverse cultures. Longed to. Phrasal verb. Wanted to do something very much. Example. It is just a dream, but I have always longed to be a famous musician. Master. Verb. Learn or understand something completely. Example. In many jobs, we have to master new techniques, such as computer skills. Have a command of. Expression. Have an ability to do or use something, especially a language. Example. You must have a good command of English in order to pass the IELTS exam. Describe a good friend. You should say when and how you met, what kind of personality he or she has, what makes you like him or her. Answer. I would like to describe my best friend Huang, whom I have known for roughly 10 years. I first met her at primary school when she was my classmate. At first, she was quite shy and did not want to talk with anyone, which made me feel that she was a bit proud. However, when we became close friends, she was more sociable and amiable. We have done a lot of things together. Studying at the same schools, we have various mutual friends. So, we usually throw parties at the weekends or have a picnic together. Besides, whenever I get into trouble, I turn to her for help. For example, I remember when I got bad marks in the mock university entrance exam. She consoled me, and then we studied together until the official exam took place. Finally, we had the opportunity to study at our favorite college. At present, despite the fact that we have different plans and goals to pursue, I believe that we will be best friends for good, and we will try our best to maintain this relationship. Vocabulary. Roughly. Adverb. Approximately, but not exactly. Example. In the exam, I wrote roughly 300 words for my essay. Close friends. Expression. Friends who know each other very well and like each other a lot. Example. Close friends usually share the same interests and have no secrets from each other. Amiable. Adjective. Pleasant and easy to like. Example. Our form teacher is very amiable, and we all enjoy the relaxed atmosphere in her classes. Mutual friends. Expression. Friends which are shared by two or more people. Example. Although we had not met before, when we started chatting, we discovered that we had some mutual friends. Throw parties. Expression. Give parties. Example. Some Hollywood film stars throw parties which hundreds of people attend. Consoled. Verb. Gave sympathy to someone who is unhappy. Example: after the team lost the match, the coach consoled the players and told them that they had played well. For good. Expression: permanently. Example: I decided to leave New York for good and move to Europe. Try our best. Do as much as possible to achieve something. Example: although we tried our best, we failed the exam. Number 12. Describe a happy family event from your childhood. You should say what the event was, where it happened. A happy family event that I still remember clearly from my childhood was making chung cake for Tet holiday at my grandparents' house. What you saw and did. When I was small, our family would get together to make chung cake for Tet holiday. My grandparents had 6 children. Therefore, I had many cousins, and the great thing was that my cousins and I were around the same age. At that time, we were too small to do anything, so basically, we played with each other while we watched the adults prepare the ingredients for the cake. Sometimes we got to eat the leftover food after all the cakes were finished. Tet holiday was the only time of the year that we were allowed to stay up late. One reason why it is so memorable. Although the winter was cold, we all felt cozy inside. We had so much fun together. And explain why you remember this event so well. Since my grandfather passed away a couple of years ago, we stopped our family tradition. In addition, some of my cousins had already gotten married and had their own families, and some had gone to study abroad. Consequently, it was very difficult for us to get together like old times. Missing this special family tradition makes it so unforgettable for me, and I hope we can start doing it again in the future. Remember clearly. To see something in your mind with detail from before. To remember something very well. I remember very clearly where I was when JFK was shot. To be around the same age. To describe when a group of people have similar ages. They are around the same age. In this context, the person and his cousins were young, so maybe they were between 4 and 7 years old. All my classmates who went to the concert were around the same age. Basically, used to indicate that a statement summarizes the most important aspects or gives a roughly accurate account of a more complex situation. So basically, I am one of the best students in the class. Leftover food. The food that remains after you have created something with certain ingredients and don't need any more of those ingredients. Or it is the food that is left over after everybody has already eaten what they wanted. They said they'd eat the leftover food for lunch tomorrow. To stay up late. To stay awake past your normal bedtime. In this context, the child was young, and so staying up until later in the evening was special. My son wants to stay up late every night during the summer. Memorable. When something is easy to remember, or when you actually remember it well. Her wedding was a memorable event for all. felt cozy, to feel nice and warm and good inside. It felt cozy to snuggle up to my lover in bed. Passed away, to die. My friend's husband passed away this evening. He had cancer. To study abroad, to go to a foreign country to study. Many Chinese students are studying abroad these days. Consequently, as a consequence of, as a result of something. My airplane arrived late last night. Consequently, I didn't make it to the meeting on time. Like old times, used to describe when something happens like it used to in the past. They danced and danced, just like old times. Missing this event. To miss something means that you wish it were happening still, but it isn't. In this context, he misses getting together with his family to make the special cakes. I was missing our family dinners now that all the kids were away at college. Unforgettable. Something that you can't forget. The Taylor Swift concert was unforgettable. Describe an occasion when you helped someone. You should say who you helped, how you helped them, where it happened, why you helped them, and explain how this person reacted to your help, and explain how you felt after helping this person. Answer. Yesterday, when walking to school, I came across a pregnant woman. She was holding a baby and carrying a lot of plastic bags containing fruit and vegetables. Those bags seemed to be heavy, which made it difficult for her to hold her child. So I quickly walked up to her and offered to help her by carrying all of the bags. At first, she was quite suspicious about my sudden appearance. Well, it is understandable to be cautious with strangers. If I were her, I would do the same. But then, she recognized the school uniform I was wearing. Therefore, she thanked me in advance and gave me all of her plastic bags, and I carried them to her house. When we arrived, she offered me a cup of tea and even invited me to stay for lunch. But I politely declined as I had to go back to school. Otherwise, I would have been late for classes. To my mind, doing a good deed makes me feel more comfortable and optimistic about everything, so I hope that everyone will help each other regularly for the sake of our mutual well-being. Vocabulary. Came across. Phrasal verb. Met her by accident. Example. Last week, I came across an old school friend in the supermarket. Walked up to. Phrasal verb. Walked towards her in a confident way. Example. In the shop, I walked up to the manager and demanded my money back. Suspicious. Adjective. She was unwilling to trust me because I had appeared suddenly and she did not know me. Example. Parents teach children to be suspicious of strangers who approach them in the street. Understandable. Adjective. Seeming normal and reasonable in a particular situation. Example. Being nervous before an exam is perfectly understandable. Politely declined. Adverb plus verb. I refused in a polite way to accept her offer. Example. I offered to give them a lift in my car, but they politely declined. Doing a good deed. Expression. Doing an action that is good. Example. I enjoy doing a good deed, such as going to the shops for my elderly neighbor. Our mutual well-being. Expression. Actions that benefit two or more people equally. Example. We should always try to be honest and generous with others for the sake of our mutual well-being. Describe an item of clothing that was bought for you. You should say what it was, who bought it, what it looked like, why it was bought for you, and explain how you felt about this item of clothing. Answer. I would like to describe a coat my parents gave me as a present on my 18th birthday. I must say that it is really smart and exactly to my liking. The coat is made of cotton only and by a Vietnamese clothes brand. It is a knee-length black coat, which was in fashion at that time. What I like the most is that there are two deep side pockets, so in winter, I always put my hands into those pockets to avoid the cold. Besides, I can button the coat from top to bottom, and it's also got a decorative waist belt. I am so fond of this coat that I usually wear it every winter. It fits me perfectly and makes me feel comfortable and warm, no matter how cold the weather is. I keep myself warm by wearing the coat with jeans and boots, which match it well. In fact, I have never thought whether it will be out of fashion. As this coat is a gift from my parents, I treasure it a lot, and for sure, I will keep wearing this coat in the future. Vocabulary. Really smart. Adjective. Very clean, neat, and attractive. Example. If you want to look good on special social occasions or even at work, it is important to dress in really smart clothes. To my liking. Expression. Suitable and how somebody likes something. Example. The smart way in which she has decorated my house is exactly to my liking. Button the coat. Verbal phrase. Fasten the coat with buttons. Example. Stepping outside my warm house, I quickly buttoned the coat which I was wearing to try and keep warm. Decorative. Adjective. Intended to look attractive because of the way in which it is decorated. Example. Many tourists visit the Temple of Literature because of the many decorative sculptures which they can see there. Fond of. Expression. Finding something pleasant or enjoyable, especially something that you have liked or enjoyed for a long time. Example. My uncle is an excellent musician and he is very fond of his hobby. Match. Verb. If things match each other, they have the same color or style and therefore look attractive together. Example. None of these shoes match my jeans. They are all very different and they are too formal. Treasure. Verb. Have or keep something that you love and that is very valuable to you. Example. Thank you for emailing the photos. They are superb and I will always treasure them and the memories that they bring. Describe a leader who you admire. You should say who this person is, what this person does as a leader, how he or she became a leader, how you know about this person, or how you personally know this person, and explain why you admire this leader. Explain how or why this leader's qualities impress you. Answer: I would like to share with you my impression of a leader who I really admire. Her name is Huang, the director of the VP Bank Huan Kim branch, where I had a chance to do an internship for over 3 months last year. She has not only a wide knowledge of banking, but also a lot of experience of being a good leader. That can be seen through the way that staff carry out their duties in the bank that she has been running. Although that bank is just a small branch of the VP Bank, the work of the employees is extremely professional and efficient. Not only has she succeeded in her career path, she also pays attention to her clothing style and physical appearance. She is in her 30s with shoulder-length hair. Because her business requires meeting with customers a lot, she always knows how to choose smart and suitable clothes to complement her figure. What I really admire is how well she treats her subordinates, not only in terms of working relationships, but also in daily life. If their personal problems affect their performance at work, always taking care thoughtfully of each person in her company. I will try my best to become a good leader like her in the future. Vocabulary: impression, noun, an idea or feeling about someone or something. Example: my first impression of Australia is that the people are very friendly. Branch, noun, a local office or shop or store belonging to a large company or organization. Example: the bank has branches in every big town and city in the country. Internship, noun, a period of time when a student or graduate gets practical experience in a job, for example, during a summer vacation. Example: my brother has just finished his accountancy course at university, and this summer he is going to do an internship at a leading company of accountants in the city. Run, verb. In this context, it means manage a company or business. Example: I am going to apply for the job of a director, running the new sports center in town. Career path, noun, the route taken by an employee from the time that they first enter a company or organization until the time that they retire from work. Example: he followed a successful career path, starting work as a simple cleaner and later becoming a senior manager in the company. In her 30s, expression, aged between 30 and 39. Example: although she is only in her 30s, my sister has already bought her own house. Complement, verb, add to something in a way which makes it look better or more attractive. Example: the excellent choice of food is complemented by a good wine list. Figure, noun, the shape of a human body, especially a woman's body, that is attractive or smart. Example: although she is in her 60s, my grandmother still has a smart figure. Subordinates, noun, people with less authority within an organization or company. Example: I always discuss things with my subordinates in the business before making my decisions. Thoughtfully, adverb, in a way that shows you think about and care about other people. Example: when we arrived, the hotel had thoughtfully provided a special meal for us. Describe a magazine or newspaper that you like to or often read. You should say what magazine or newspaper it is, what the magazine or newspaper is about, how often you read it, what kinds of people generally read this magazine or newspaper, and explain why you like to read it. Answer: to be honest, I don't read magazines much these days, but I still read the one called Viet Traveler, which is a tourism magazine. The magazine contains all that we need to know in terms of traveling, such as reviews of numerous famous destinations, tips to save money when traveling, or what we need to prepare for a trip. Besides, at the back of the magazine, there are a few discount coupons for some particular domestic tours which are run by tourist companies. Always, when a new issue is published, I get it delivered to my house by post. Actually, I have been a subscriber to this magazine for almost 5 years, and I fully intend to carry on reading it, as all the information in it is arranged logically. Therefore, I find it quite easy to locate every article that interests me. In addition, I highly appreciate the quality of the magazine's contents. The attractiveness of the glossy photos and the high standard of journalism are just two of its outstanding features. As a final point, I would emphasize that I usually depend on this magazine to plan a good trip or suggest one to my friends. Vocabulary: discount coupons. Noun: small pieces of printed paper that gives you the right to buy something at a cheaper price than normal. Example: I cut the discount coupons out of the newspaper and used them to buy an iPhone at a reduced price. Run: verb, provided and made available to people. Example: the school runs special courses for teenagers during the summer. Issue: noun, one of a regular series of a magazine. Example: in the last issue of the magazine, there is an article about restaurants in Hanoi. Subscriber: noun, a person who pays money, usually once a year, to receive regular copies of a magazine or newspaper. Example: the number of subscribers to the magazine has now reached 10,000. Fully intend to: adverb plus verb, to have a definite plan about something which you will do. Example: if I don't go on holiday this month, then I fully intend to take a holiday next month. Carry on. Phrasal verb. Continue. Example: even if I pass the exam, I fully intend to carry on studying English to an advanced level. Glossy. Adjective: smooth and shiny so as to look real and attractive. Example: the shiny paper used in glossy magazines is very expensive, so the magazines too are always expensive. Outstanding. Adjective: extremely good and very important. Example: the outstanding tourist attraction in New York is the Statue of Liberty. Describe a meal you had with your friends in someone's home or in a restaurant. You should say who organized this meal, where you had it, what you talked about during the meal, what you ate and drank, and explain why you had this meal with your friends. Answer: last month I had a get-together with some of my high school friends whom I had not met since we graduated. Then we decided to have lunch at a well-known pizza restaurant in the city center. Arriving at the restaurant, we were quickly given the menu. What surprised me the most was that there were various types of pizza and drinks. Hence, it took me quite a long time to choose the food. After that, we talked with each other while waiting for the dishes. Some of my friends were studying at the same university. Some had decided to get a job. And I was especially impressed by the decision of one friend to take a gap year. She said that as she had a strong passion for traveling, she would spend 1 year visiting lots of places. Then the dishes were served. The pizza was out of this world, and the drinks were tasty, although they were a bit pricey. We kept talking and enjoyed the meal and drinks for about 2 hours. Actually, meeting them reminded me of the time when we studied at high school, and I realized that now we were all grown up. We had our own plans to pursue, but we all promised to meet up regularly. Vocabulary. Get together. Noun. An informal meeting or gathering of friends. Example. We usually have a family get-together during the New Year celebrations. Gap year. Noun. The year that a young person spends working and/or traveling after leaving school and starting university. Example. I'm planning to take a gap year before I start my university course, and I have decided to go to see India and China. Have a passion for. Expression. Have a hobby or activity that you like very much. Example. He has a passion for traditional music, and he is learning to play some traditional musical instruments. Out of this world. Adjective. Used to emphasize how good or beautiful something is. Example. The variety of Vietnamese food available during the Tet holiday is out of this world. Tasty. Adjective. Having a very delicious flavor. Example. When I want something tasty to eat, I often buy some chocolates or ice cream. A bit pricey. Adjective. A little expensive. Example. Although my favorite restaurant serves food that is out of this world, it is unfortunately a bit pricey, so I can't afford to eat there often. Grown up. Adjective. Mentally and physically an adult. Example. She has a grown-up daughter who works in our local hospital. Meet up. Phrasal verb. To meet someone, usually by arranging a time and place with them first. Example. After work, we all met up at the cinema to watch the new James Bond movie. Number 2. Describe a time when you made a mistake. You should say where you were, what you were doing, what mistake you made, and explain what was the result of your mistake. Answer. Today I'm going to share with you a time when I made a mistake. This situation happened last year when I had to attend a final exam for my business management qualification. The test required candidates to use a calculator because the exam involved doing a lot of calculations. I was sure that putting the calculator into my bag was the first thing I had done in the morning. As it turned out, I had not. I realized that I would definitely not pass if I was not able to borrow a calculator immediately. I really did not want to put myself at risk of delaying my graduation plan because I had devoted a lot of valuable time to this subject and had even paid money for the upcoming semester. In panic, I figured out that I had to ask for help. I decided to make a call to one of my classmates living in the dormitory to borrow her calculator. Unfortunately, she was not in Hanoi at that time. As a result, I had to manage without a calculator to deal with this difficult situation. Although I scraped by in the exam, I failed to get a high mark. It was an extremely valuable lesson for me. I learned the hard way that I need to be more careful and well prepared for the important things in my life. Vocabulary. Calculator. Noun. A small electronic device for dealing with numbers. Example. As my course is based on mathematics, I always carry a pocket calculator with me. turn out, phrasal verb, to be discovered, for example, in a particular situation. Example, the hotel room, as it turned out, was facing a busy road. Devote to, phrasal verb, give an amount of time or attention to something. Example, I devote 2 hours every evening to doing my homework. Upcoming, adjective, going to happen soon. Example, who do you think will win the upcoming U.S. presidential election? Figure out, phrasal verb, think about something until you understand it. Example, I couldn't figure out how to install the software, so I asked my best friend for advice. Dormitory, noun, a room for several people to sleep, especially in a school, college, or other institution. Example, he shares a dormitory with 4 other students, but he would prefer to have his own private room. Manage, verb, succeed in doing something difficult. Example, despite all the traffic on the roads, we managed to arrive at the airport on time. Scrape by, phrasal verb, to succeed in doing something but with difficulty. Example, he is happy that he scraped by in the exam because he did not do any revision. Learn the hard way, expression. Learn something by experience, usually in an unpleasant way. Example, since I fell off my motorbike last year and hurt my head, I have learned the hard way that I should always wear a helmet.